What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Travel Guy Mighty 84 from Where's Adi and the Wicked Explorers. And today on this episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite places on the entire planet, and more specifically, a certain place inside one of my favorite places in the entire planet. We're going to talk about a little place called Epcot, and more specifically in Epcot. It's one of those days. We're going to talk about World Showcase in Epcot. And we're going to talk about drinking around the world. Now, drinking around the world is a not a Disney sponsored event. I would imagine they would be. I want to, support binge drinking at their parks, especially it's being a family friendly place. But it is something that I've done, gosh, multiple times. And it is a task in which takes a lot of it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And there's a proper way of doing it. And I'll tell you about the first time I did it, and I'll tell you about the last time I did it, and how different the two times were since then. Um, so the first time I did it was had to be 2013, I think it was. So at this point, I hadn't been to Disney World. Um, for quite some time at that point. The last time it was almost 20 years since I went to Disney World at that point. I went in April of 93. Um and yeah, I hadn't been back since, and this was like January of 2013, I believe. So I had gone here and on a trip. It was for the marathon. I had friends running in the Disney Marathon. So it was a great time to go there. So I hadn't been there in a while. So we're like, hey, let's just check this out and go. And prior to this trip, I didn't know much about the drinking around the world thing. I feel like I kind of made it up myself, but the more people I talked about, it was a thing that was being done anyways. So, in a sense, I didn't really create anything. I just kind of did it and was curious how to do it. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to create like a calendar for the year of me drinking around the world, and then have me in particular countries in regards to different holidays, I guess you could say. So like, I don't know, the most obvious one would be uh, July, America, 4th of July. Um, and that's about where it ended there. I didn't really have much after that. I kind of just made up holidays as I went and placed myself in them with no regards to the country. So somewhere in my storage, I made like 20 calendars, and I was giving them out as gifts, and I have them somewhere. I got to go dig it out. But it's me drinking at every single country around the world. Now, the first time I did this, I did not pace myself very, very good. I would say, and please comment below, I need to know this. Where do you start when you go around the world? Do you start in Mexico or do you start in Canada? Now, 99% of the time, and I've started in Mexico, and I don't know why. I think it's maybe because like you come into the park, I always veer left for some reason. I don't know why. Um, because you get Spaceship Earth's right there, and then you kind of go left. And there's really nothing over there. I mean, now there's Galaxy of the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but like prior to that, I mean, there was nothing really there. It was Ellen's, you know, World Adventure or whatever it was called, and then the obviously Mission Space, and you work your way around Test Track. I think probably because I was probably heading to Test Track most of the time when we first get in, so I kind of went that way. Anyways, I don't know. I just never went right. I always went left. I can't ever recall a time I went right. Just I always went left. But nevertheless, it just ends up being to the point where the entrance of the World Showcase over there is Mexico. So the first time I attempted this adventure was obviously 20 years after I've been to Disney. So I was just kind of taking it all in because I hadn't been there in so long. And it's kind of crazy that I hadn't been there so long because I really enjoyed the place. And we stopped at Mexico first. So it was probably like 10 o'clock in the morning at this point. And I decided that I was going to have myself a margarita. So my first drink of the 12 drinks in which I was going to drink, I included the outpost, which is not technically a country. I guess it's a continent of Africa, even though Morocco's represented. But I look at it as a stop, and I needed the 12th stop anyways, so I can complete my calendar that I was making. So that was the idea. So I started in Canada and had myself, I mean, I'm sorry, I started in Mexico and had myself a margarita. And I was feeling pretty good. And then I went on the ride that's in Mexico, the Trace, God, I forget the name of it. I got the map in front of me. I can just look it up right there. The, the Donald Duck ride with the, you know, Grand Fiesta Tour, the three Caballeros. I think I messed that up. Which actually, when we just went to Disney last time, it was close. But went on that, had a nice buzz, and then I moved my way over to Norway. Okay, so Norway is the next one as you go around the Horn. And it's funny, it says it backwards. And there's the Frozen ride there. So instead of me just getting a beer at Norway immediately after drinking a strawberry margarita, I decided I was going to get a shot of Norwegian vodka. Not the best thing to do. So now, mind you, this time I went around the world. I had to do this in 2 days. Oh, I'm sorry. This wasn't in 2013. Hold on. Back up. I had gone in March of 2013. This was, gosh, I don't remember the year. It had to be 2011, perhaps. Let's see. I can tell you right now. When did Tim Tebow play on? Let's see. Tim Tebow drafted what year? Because I'm getting this mixed up too, because I had gone back twice. All right, so he was drafted in 2010, April. He was playing in a playoff game the following. So yes, it was 2011. It was January 2011. I remember this because the Broncos were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Tebow threw like a Hail Mary pass in the game in overtime, and they won the game. And then the Pats ended up playing the Denver in the next round and completely beat the crap out of them. So that's what I remember from that trip. So this was 2011. I had gone back in 2013. Sorry. 2011 is when my rookie. It was 18 years since I've been to Disney at this point. And so now I'm feeling pretty good. I'm moving on to China, and I'm pushing my way through. I had started the day late because we got to the park. So I think I said around 10 o'clock. I think it was a little later than that. I think it was probably around noontime because we had landed that morning and then got to our hotel, checked in, and then just headed to Epcot just to walk around. So Epcot was going to be something that we were going to check in back a few times, and that seems to be the kind of my mentality of when I do Disney. I like to hop it because I like to eat dinner at Epcot, regarding whatever country it is. And I like the ability just to go to Epcot at any time, whether it's in the morning or it's at night. It doesn't really matter. I like Epcot. It's my favorite place. Don't ask me why. When I was a kid, I was probably bored out of my mind in Epcot, but as an adult, I really enjoy Epcot. I lived in Florida and had a season pass. I would go to Epcot every week and just walk around. I wouldn't even go to rides. Maybe grab a drink, walk around and stuff like this. But Epcot, I love Epcot. It's weird. I don't know why. I just do. But regardless, so I ended up doing this in 2 days because by the time I got to, I think at this point, I was rounding the round. I got to Mexico, Norway, China, did the outpost. I remember at Germany, I was feeling a little under the weather. And I think we had some dinner reservations somewhere that night, which I don't recall where. But I only made it to like the United States, I think, or Italy that night. And I figured, all right, I got almost half of them done, and I will, do the rest another day, which I ended up doing. So I did it in 2 days, and I just didn't pace myself. And you know what? Usually, when I'm at the park, what I'll do is I'll hit a couple places up and then do a ride, and then hit a couple places up, do a ride. So I'm constantly going back and forth. There's a lot of walking involved in this, but at least like in the time I'm waiting for the ride, and this was the old fast pass system where you just like, oh, you show up at 1:30 and you show up at 1:30, so you'd walk around for a little bit and then head back and grab a snack or whatever like that. So this is the way I was doing it at that time, and then I figured I got halfway through the first, half the country's done. The next time I'm there, I just bang them all out real quick. And I remember the last country, Canada, that this trip, I was struggling pretty bad. I could barely get the beer down, and it was really tough. And yeah, and I go, this got to be an easier way to do this. So fast forward to the 2013 March time I was telling you about. I was there. Um, we got there on the afternoon. We were meeting some family there to go on the trip. It was my cousin's first time to Disney, so we had kind of structured it a little bit that we were going to do, um, you know, the parks each day. So, for example, like we're going to do Magic Kingdom, we're going to do Epcot, um, Hollywood Studios. I think we were there for 3 days, so we did everything but Animal Kingdom, um, because we had done that prior. So we kind of just we Epcot was like a first or second day there. I think it was a second day there. So we had, or second full day, I should say. So we shot up there in the morning, and I started my drinking quite early that day. Now we had one of my cousins with me who was obviously underage, and he was just kind of just want to hang out with me, and so we could just walked around the countries together, and we took the pictures, and we kind of made our way through it. I did it all in one day this time because that's all I had. We weren't going back after this time. So it was all or nothing. So I had to suck it up. So I got a nice early start, and I started in Canada, of course. I mean, of course, Mexico, of course, and then made my way to Canada. So that was the idea. So we did that, and that was pretty successful. So that was twice complete around the world drinking and the Disney showcase. So pretty cool. All right, did that. Now the next time I did it, me and Susie J were going, and it was a spur of the moment trip. We had really no plans. It was 2016 December. We had gone down to Florida to go visit my grandmother at the time in December around Christmas time, and we had, if I remember correctly, we did something where I think we were flying out of Orlando was our exit airport. We flew into, I feel like we flew into Fort Myers. No, we flew out of my, this was a bit complicated. We had flown down and we were anticipating going to the Patriots Dolphins game in Miami, which was on, I believe it was a Sunday night or a Monday night game. I think it was a Monday night game. And we were looking at tickets and it was just way too expensive. And we figured, forget about it. We'll just go to Miami. We're going to fly out of Miami, so we'll just do it for the one night and we'll do that. So we opt out instead of going to Miami. We decided to go to Disney and then go back to Miami from Fort Myers. So we drove up in the morning. We got there really, really early, right when the park opened. I'm trying to visualize what we did at our hotel. We got to the hotel. I guess we parked the car and we Ubered over to the park and we got there pretty early when they opened, and we just started. The whole objective of going to Epcot at this particular day was to drink around the world, and then when the park closed at 10, we were going to go to downtown Disney. We had a friend living in the area. We were going to meet up with her for some drinks, and that was the trip. So that was the goal. That was what we planned and did at this trip. So Susie had never done the drinking around the world before, and in fact, she's never been to Epcot before. This is the first time she was actually at Disney in her entire life, and this was in 2016. Um, so we got to do the drinking around. So we got to the park early. I think we went on a couple of rides, and we just kind of made our way around the whole, World Showcase, and to the very end, Canada. I don't recall if she was able to stay pot of pot with me. I do remember at one point she was drinking some like fancy high alcohol drink at France that I think we've kind of lost her a little bit. I trying to remember if we ate dinner there. I think we ate dinner in Japan. Yes, we did. We made reservations for Japan that time, which is my favorite restaurant. The Bishuteki Cook in front of you style at Japan is my number one favorite restaurant in Epcot. Love it. It's the greatest. And I have to say, I was going to, like a side note right here. I've eaten at every pavilion except for Germany that I can recall. I might have done it when I was little, but I don't remember. But every pavilion I've eaten at, just let's say for the sake of it, I didn't eat at Germany for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. My top three, believe it or not, is obviously the Bishuteki in Japan, La Stella in Canada. Great steakhouse. Food was excellent there. We ate there on our honeymoon, which we'll talk about soon enough. and the restaurant in Mexico that overlooks the Tres Caballeros, whatever the hell the ride that's called. That was like the ride wasn't working that time, but I had always gone into that pavilion and was kind of like, what could it be, And then we were there the last time, a couple of weeks ago, with the kids, and I go, let's try Mexico because you know what, we haven't tried this before. I'm curious, like, how it is and what it's like. And food was fabulous. I got this enchilada plate, and the drinks were good and everything like that. So it was a good time. So, side note, um, those are my three favorites right there. We also France we loved, that was great. Italy we ate in both restaurants. China I've eaten there before. Um, Morocco only for lunch, but it was really good. Like Mediterranean style food there and everything like that. Canada we had dinner. I had lunch at England before. There's some fish and chips. Um, I think that sums all of them up, right? Germany's the only one I don't think I eat. I bought a pretzel there. I think that's the extent of my eating in Germany. I'm not big on German food. I'm not big on that stuff, but it's not for everyone. But nevertheless, and obviously America, I've had my share of turkey legs. Hasn't if we've been doing the showcase. So back to this time we were there. It was 2016. We were there and we did the tour, and I was a little more seasoned at this point and paced myself. So as long as you're drinking beers and you don't got to go too crazy, you just get the small ones. And the way I was looking at it, and I kind of did this interesting method. So if I started in Mexico, I got a beer. And instead of just going to Norway, we actually walked a little bit longer to China. So you have a little more space to walk, finish the beer. And then I got a drink at China, and then we'd walk a little bit and go. I think after China was so you walk around, you go China, and then you go Outpost, and then Germany. So when we Outpost get a bit, then you make your way back and come around this way again and hit the two spots you missed. And then by that time you're on a ride or you go into a ride, so you head back to the ride, and then you come back and you either continue around or you go into the Canada area and you sneak up past America and you kind of zigzag this way. And I knew we were eating dinner at Japan, so I didn't have to get a drink at Japan, so I skipped that. And then I got one while we're waiting, like stay at Morocco, and then kind of so on and so on. So that was the method I used that one time I went because we had one day and then one day only. That was it. And we got to the park after opening, I think. So we were really only had like 10 hours to do it. So that's like a drink every 45 minutes when you break it down. So at some points you double fisting at some points, right? But I'm not an alcoholic or anything, but it's an objective you have to get done, right? So it's a goal. You want to do this, you want to get it done, and did it. So that was the 2016 time we did. So then we go in 2018 for our honeymoon. So it was December 2018. So it was 2 years later, and we had set aside that we are going to eat dinner at Canada, and Canada, and Italy. Since we already did Japan, we were going to hold that off. So we did those three, and then we had dinner on Christmas Eve because we got married in the middle of December, and we went the next weekend, and then we were flying home on Christmas Day. We were flying home to celebrate Christmas with my family up here, back into Boston. So Christmas Eve dinner was at the yacht club, the yacht restaurant, the one that's in behind Epcot in the resort. I forget what it's called. If you guys can help me fill it out down there, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like the beach walk one. Not sorry, I should know this, but there was the beach area, the beach walk behind Epcot was that area over there. There was a restaurant over there that we ate, and it was great. We had nice Christmas Eve dinner. It was fabulous. And we flew home the next day. So on that trip, the entire day we were at Epcot, I banged it all out that day. We had 4 days there. We had a day in each park. The 2 days we were at Animal Kingdom and at Hollywood Studios. We ended up going to Epcot anyways, except for the last day. I think we were at Hollywood Studios on Christmas Eve. I think we went back to the hotel, took a nap because we got done early. So we had some energy for that. It was really exhausting. We made the mistake about making our dinner reservations at 8:30 plus at night. And when a day of walking and drinking all day, you get very, very tired. And our hotel wasn't on property; it was off property on Vineland Street, across from Disney Springs. And we couldn't easily just go back and forth. We were Uber the entire time too, so that was it was a tough thing. So when we needed to take a nap, we couldn't. So and then there was a lot of time of us waiting for dinner at Epcot. We had finished everything and just got so tired we couldn't drink anymore. It was time. So we decided the next time we go, we're gonna do like 6 o'clock dinners. So there's still some time a little bit afterwards if you want to walk around and drink. And we're not forcing ourselves to stay up so late because especially the time that we just went, we took the kids and it was key to have like a nice 6 o'clock dinner because they were worn out. And by the time we ate, they put them in the carriage and we kind of just walked around World Showcase and stuff and just relaxed for the rest of the evening. And we did similar the same thing. When we went to Disneyland um, last year, so it was kind of the same idea. But so this time on a honeymoon, I banged them all out in one day, no problem at all. Both of us did. It was very successful. The same strategy. I think wherever we were eating dinner that night, I think we were eating dinner in France that night. So I waited for that would be my last drink to have for the night, just so I wouldn't, we'd space it out a little bit, right? So then we go down with the kids in early January, and the kids had never been here before, and we're only there for 2 days. So we obviously know there's not a lot for the kids to do in Epcot, and we wanted them to have the whole Disney experience. Henry went there when he was just turned 2. My wife was pregnant with Charlotte at the time. So we wanted to get, a Disney experience done with him by himself before his sister was born. So we took him to Magic Kingdom with my mother-in-law, and we had a great time. It was a good time. But that's all we did. And to be honest, we were only in Magic Kingdom till about 5 o'clock. We got there rope drop, and we were down at 5. We were just all exhausted. It was a long trip. We had driven from Tennessee the night before. We didn't leave there till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had a long drive to Orlando. We drove to the night. I think we got to the hotel around 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were up at at 6 for to get to the park for rope drop. So it was a really really long day that we weren't exactly planning on you know having that lack of an energy, but it was fun. So you got to do some of the stuff that he wanted. Well, he didn't really know, but we wanted him to do as a kid. So that was cool. So we knew we were going to come back at some point, and then since then we went to Disneyland, which was a whole nother experience, and we'll talk about that in another podcast because that was a great time. And it's completely different. I On a side note, going to Disneyland, I was very skeptical if I was going to actually enjoy it, considering I was only been to Disney World. But they both have their pros and they both have their cons, and either or are very very cool to check out. So I would be even playing field on both of them if you would have me to choose. They're both great. And they both have things I like better. I love for right off the bat, Disneyland. I love the fact that you can walk from your hotels right to the parks, and they're open till midnight every night. Both parks, awesome. I mean, that's great. You get plenty of time to spend at the parks. A little bit smaller, a little easy to get around. Um, but their Disney Spring area is a lot smaller. They don't have an Epcot, obviously, so they don't have that ability to, drink around the world. But they have their. I can see why people like both parks. I really do because they both have their cool characteristics. But aside, we're talking about Epcot right now. We're talking about Epcot. I guess stay on fans. So when we went with the kids, we were Epcot both nights. The first night we were there, we went to what did we do? We went to Magic Kingdom in the morning, and then we ended up heading over to Epcot that night. I think we took so we left Magic Kingdom right around. We're heading for dinner. We had a 6 o'clock reservation. We headed over. I think I grabbed a couple drinks. I did this in 2 different trips because I knew that we weren't going to. I knew we were going to be there, and I knew I had to pace myself. We were only going to be there half the day, so we went to Magic Kingdom, and then we shot over to Epcot. I had a few. I think I had maybe hit 4 countries up for the end of the night. We were there, and then the next day we went to Hollywood Studios real quick because Henry wanted to see Toy Story and Star Wars lands over there, and then we shot back over, and then I continued the fact. Now, funny enough, that when we went to Epcot on the first day, we weren't planning on running into Moana. The idea originally was we were going to go to Animal Kingdom the next day, so there was a meet and greet with Moana. And that's all my daughter wanted to talk about. She just talked about Moana the entire time. We happened to get to Epcot, and we took a right turn, and Moana was there in a meet and greet. Perfect time. So we didn't have to go to Animal Kingdom because we really didn't want to head over there in the morning. We kind of just wanted to stay with Epcot and, Magic Kingdom, and I guess Hollywood Studios because of Star Wars. But that's all we did in Hollywood Studios was Star Wars. And We did one Toy Story ride because the Slinky Dog was closed. We did one Star Wars ride because one of them was closed. And then we did Mickey's Runaway Railroad because we hadn't done that before. We were gonna do Muppets. We forgot to do Muppets. We knew if we were there, we were like, oh, we gotta do Muppets and close the Muppets, and then we forgot about Muppets, and we were already on the boat on our way back. So we took the Skyline to Epcot from Hollywood Studios, which was cool. And then we had parked at Hollywood Studios. So on the way back, we took the boat and then we walked over. So that was kind of cool too. So a few different things you could do when you go to the park. So we experienced it all. But yes, we definitely did. We did the drinking around the world. At least I did. Stu's not a big drinker these days, but yeah, I had a beer and all that. I accidentally got a non-alcoholic beer at Norway. So we were heading into the Frozen ride, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get a drink just to have in line." And I use this app to keep track of like different beers and stuff I drink, and it's called Untapped. So you could put in the name of the beer, and then obviously you can pin the pavilion I was in. So I was obviously in whatever pavilion I got the drinks in. So funny enough, I go in whatever beer I got in Norway, I typed it in, had 0% alcohol, which is probably not a bad thing at the time. I could probably use the 0% alcohol this time because, of all the alcohol I was drinking at this time. Now, I kept it to strictly beers this time, except for the last pavilion we did was Mexico, and I knew I was going to eat dinner there that night, so that was going to be my final and last drink of the tour. And I had myself a couple nice margaritas, and they were very tasty. So that was the goal there. But so drinking around the world, what did it cost? Well, you got to think about it this way. You're paying to get into the park, right? So the park is like $100 and something just to get in. And then you're figuring each drink, the minimum I think I paid, the cheapest I think for the beers was like $11, if I can remember correctly. I would have to go into my statements to check it out, but I think it was an average of $11 per country at least, right? So you times that, 11 times 12 was that 144 minus 11 is like $133 before taxes. Let's round it up to about $150 worth of alcohol to drink around the world. Plus the ticket to the park, 120. So we're at 250. So drinking around the world potentially could cost about $250 if you when you really break it down. And it's one thing if you have a season pass and it doesn't cost you to get in there. And then you throw a pocket on top of that too. So is it worth it? Well, if you're there anyways, yes. If you're going there just to do this, it potentially could be the world's most expensive pub crawl. Easily. And I thought I did the world's most expensive pub crawl on this channel when I went to Logan Airport and I had bought a one-way ticket and got in and went to just to get into the Delta lounges so I could have some free lunch, and then I was going to cancel my ticket and shoot off to go to a basketball game tonight. But while I was there, I was like, well, I'll see if I could drink at every bar at Terminal A at Logan Airport, which I did. And that ended up costing me a good amount of money, but not quite as much as $250 as drinking around the world costs you. So what do I say to people who want to do this? I say do it. If you're there anyways, do it. It's fun. Just be responsible. Remember, you're in a kid's park for the most part, right? So you can't act like a total idiot. Avoid any hard alcohol if you could. It's not necessary. You don't need it. It's just actually going to cause more issues and stuff, and you're not going to be able to get through the whole challenge as well as you could if you're just drinking beers. And you're gonna go to the bathroom a lot. It goes without saying. Drink water, especially if you're doing this in the summertime when it's hot in Disney. Drink some water. Jesus, please drink some water so you don't pass out. You don't want to be that guy who's passed out on a bench in Epcot. Nothing's more embarrassing than that. How was Epcot? Oh, everything was great, but Dad had to be taken out by an ambulance. No one wants to deal with that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this as well, and just have fun with it. Listen, these lines suck. We all know these lines at Disney suck. So if you have a drink while you're in line, for me, at least, if you don't drink, then this is not for you. But at least if you have a drink while you're in line, it kind of chills you out a little bit. And you're like, yeah, at least I'm doing something to pass the time. You know what I mean? I'm not just standing there, So something to keep in mind. I like to go clockwise, starting at Mexico. Maybe you want to go Canada. It was really weird when we started. I got my first drink at Canada last time because we were over at the Moana exhibit, and then we kind of went to Canada, and we went to Canada, England, and then France, and then oh no, we took the Skyline over. So no, we took the monorail over that time. That time we took the monorail over because we were coming from Magic Kingdom. But anyways, it was just weird starting from that area and working our way around that way. But you go any way you want. It doesn't matter. The best part is once you get to America, you get to have a Sam Adams and a turkey leg. Actually, I had a Yingling this time, which is either one or the other, so it's not a bad idea. So something to keep in mind. Um, we'll do a show just on food in World Showcase because I could go on for another half hour about where to eat, where not to eat, what to avoid, and stuff like that. And I'm sure everyone has their opinions. Everyone has their favorite places. Everyone I talk about the subject has their favorite places, which is cool. But at the end of the day, Epcot's awesome, and that's why I have this map from Epcot in English. Boom. I collect these. I have so many of these from all the years because I like to look at these things over the years and see what changed. You know what I mean? Like when you look at them, like, oh, that's a little bit different than it is. You know what I mean? Like what this has been added, and this has been subtracted. But overall, it's pretty cool. And I'm curious what they're gonna do with Test Track and how they're revamping that old bad Larry up. So that's gonna be cool. So hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you ever drank around the world showcase. Let me know what's your method of doing it, which way you prefer to do it, and we'll go from there. Feel free to leave your comments. Please subscribe and like it to help the algorithm to get this thing going. And as always, watch our regular videos that we post on Wizardy and the TW Explorers because we post a video every week. I think we have them queued up right now till October, almost October at this point. So we got plenty in queue for you. We're actually just premiered the Disneyland trip, which was part of our West Coast road trip that we started actually a year ago. This weekend we left to go start the trip, so we're almost a year behind on these videos, which is kind of cool because we had some time to edit them. We had so much stuff we were doing in between. We just had to get it out there. So what you're watching now on the travel videos was a year ago, so some stuff may have changed since then, but who knows. But thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, leave your comments, leave your likes, and we'll see you guys next time on this episode of The Travel Guy with Wizardy and the TW Explorers. See you guys later. Bye. Boo!